We're going to talk about the methods section of the research article. The methods section is the structural framework of the article. The author describes who or what was studied, the materials that were used, and how those materials were used to obtain the data, the procedures, so the recipe of the research article. This helps the reader to identify research strategies and specific research designs. The careful reader can identify threats to internal and external validity while reading the methods section. So the components of the methods section, they describe who or what was studied and the steps taken to gather the data. Remember, enough detail needs to be provided so that the study can be replicated. Reproducible results. Make conclusions valid. Make studies strong. The subjects or participants, either word is appropriate, are going to be described. So the number of individuals recruited and the number of individuals that retained or stayed within the study that didn't drop out. The rationale for the enrollment of the subjects and the size of the subjects. The selection criteria, the sex, the age, a basic demographic profile is sometimes included. If the investigation involves a physical model or specimens, detailed descriptions are also provided, how the tissues or specimens were obtained and how they were prepared for the study. The sample size is going to be provided. Remember, it's not possible to investigate entire populations, so we study a sample or a subset of the population of interest. Sample sizes can range from single subject case studies to normative investigations with thousands of subjects. You must consider whether the sample size was adequate for the purpose of the study. So sample sizes are based on the purpose of the study, previous research in the study, concerns about generalizations, variabilities found for the attributes under investigation, and the research design itself. Were subject selection procedures and types of subjects used correct? Were subjects selected based on extreme scores? That's going to affect the internal validity. Remember, we spoke about regression effects, so apparent changes in post-treatment scores could really just reflect the tendency of some scores to become less extreme, so that, regression towards the mean were all the subjects chosen because they all had very weak scores to begin with. Questions about subject selection, thoughts on internal validity can also be looked at in the methods section. This is important for between group subjects. So are the criteria for group compositions clearly defined and dispensable? Is there an overlap between the groups on the variables that distinguish the groups? Are the exclusion criteria defined and defensible? Are the groups comparable on important extraneous variables? Again, have the subjects been selected on extreme scores? So basically, are the control group and the experimental group matched? With external validity, that's what I just said. Are your two groups lined up? Was there subject randomization or subject matching? Were subjects volunteers, or were they paid or unpaid? That's going to be listed in the methods section too. Subjects were paid for their participation or not paid.